Set to Sea.
Yeah, so Set to Sea it's a pretty simple book. It's drawn in a sort of one panel per page style. It has a cartoony kind of E.C. Seeger, Popeye style to it. And the narrative is a relatively simple narrative. It's a poet who wants simply to just write poetry and sit by a fire. He can't do that because he's poor. And so he, without giving the plot too much away, he ends up on a ship and out at sea and getting certain adventures out there. And sort of coming into his own and becoming a seafarer, and then he ends up realizing his dream as a poet. But one of the things that I liked so much about this book, I have not enough nice things to say about this book. I've read it dozens of times at this point. I love the drawings in this book, and I think it's a very difficult thing to do, to have a cartoony, childlike style to your drawings and still to pull off a story that is emotional and evocative and makes you think about what it means to be a human being. And in the end, that's what this story is about, what we endure through a life, what we endure in order to achieve the things that we want, especially the sort of simple lives that we want to lead. So.
I'll just say that, again, I came from this, from my own interest in the old Big Little books, you know, where each page had to return to get to the story. I used to love, I still do, the work of E.C. Seeger. I think Jerod mentioned him. To me, this was, in a way, Bluto finds his inner self, you know, and turns out to be a rather poetic, expressive guy. And as you can see from the image, this story really propels with very little use of word. It's sequential art, you know, in its best form.
Yeah, I can just, you know, second these things. What I like the most about this book is the art and the way each page is its own individual, very detailed panel. And some of these, I think that they're very small in original size, but this is a little book. I mean, so even as a book, as an object, this is a well-designed, very different Fright from Wonder Dog. I could probably read this book 30 times or more in the time it took me to read half of Duncan, but that's not a problem. And can you open it like to the very early, there's just one panel I just love, right here, right there. This kind of long he has for the world of books. This is early in the book. And again, this is one of these great panels that has no words, but it's so detailed in its art. It suggests a lot, right, that will be picked up later in the book. And like Jerod said, it tells a simple story, but it raises all kinds of issues in a non-kind of intrusive way. And so you can experience this story on several different levels. It's not saying, look at me, I'm so clever, I'm so serious, I am literary. Right? It's telling a very compelling story, primarily through image. And so the design is just one aspect I wanted to point out. The size of the book and how each page is one of these wonderful individual images.
I just want to say one of the things I love about that particular picture is it's reminiscent of one of Lynd Ward's images where, from the perspective of the artist in the library creating the work, and here the person is looking from the outside in.
This was just so thrilling to look at. It's stunning. Each page is, I mean, I told you before, I'm an etcher, I'm a printmaker, and these images are all, this man is a wonderful draftsman, and just everything, you know, the way he details the rocks in the foreground. And I think this might be the passage. There's a passage about 6 or 7, 8 pages that has no words, very quiet. It just takes you through his sort of emotional landscape, and it's stunning. You know exactly, you know, what's going on. And I adore his hands and his feet and his face, and you know, just the way the details of the character. His